Hello. I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. It's hard to believe it's 2020, but we're here. And this spring in sociology, I wanted to spend a few moments with you and show you how to navigate the course and be able to locate the things that you will need. So I have already logged into Blackboard and I'm in an online section of the course. And if you're in an online section, then this will work perfectly. And if you're in a traditional class, then there's going to be some few minor differences that I will make sure that I mention to you in this video. But we are all the way over to the left on the tabs, and I wanted to just briefly go through those and give you a little bit of an idea of what is located where in the course. The first tab, Getting Started, just has an introduction, and for example, it shows you how to get to Blackboard. If you don't know how to do that, you'll be logging in there first. I've already done that today. And then here's our course syllabus, which is also located under the Course Resources tab, but you definitely need to read over that. It tells you lots of information about the course, including the due dates for assignments, and I'll have some reminders also, but it's very important to make sure you know what assignment is due when and to make sure you turn it in on time. Some of our assignments are flexible in the due date and then some are not. And so if it does have a firm due date, then if that date passes, then I do not accept late work. The video that we're talking about now will actually be under this tab right here today, so you can come back to it at any time that you would like. And once I think you have a good feel for navigation, I don't think you'll need it much after that. So I also have a description of why someone would take a sociology course and some things I think that are very important. And I've also mentioned here the tab that you will probably use the most in the course is the Assignments tab. So it's right here, but I think just about all the assignments except for a few minor ones are located under that folder, and we'll be coming to that in just a second. How can you be successful in the course? Well, you need to be prepared. So that means, for example, starting with the syllabus and reading that, and being aware of due dates for assignments, reading your textbook. We have an e-text for our class, and to complete all of your assignments to maximize your points. And this is just really a short, brief synopsis of what you need to be able to do in order to be successful in a college-level course with college-level work. So for our class also, with the e-text, you can opt out. I've included that form here. That means you'll get your money back. It's a rather lengthy process, but we have to start and have this in within the first 3 days of the course. So whether you're in an online or traditional course, you can opt out of this e-text that you have already paid for. And I would not recommend that at all because it's going to be detrimental to a student's performance in the course. You could actually fail the class, and then you would have to figure out how to get your assignments to me. That would not be something your instructor in any e-text class would have to figure out. That would be on the student's shoulders, so to speak. So that's really an option you have. You need to decide really that first day, and we can get that paperwork in, and then I'll explain the process to you a little bit more. The form does a good job too, but I would really think hard and long before you opt out. All right, so one of the things that I would like you to do after reading this Getting Started tab is to complete the enrollment and verification quiz. Again, it should be up here on the left, one of these menu tabs. And then the student acknowledgement form basically says that you have gone over the syllabus, that you understand it, and you agree to buy it. And I'll show you where that form is in just a second. But you can also send me an email that says, I agree to abide by the syllabus. That would be a sufficient way to do it too. The acknowledgement form itself is under the Course Resources tab, and we'll click on that in just a moment. And then the orientation assignments, this is where some of our assignments are not located under that Assignments tab, but once you click this link, there is an assignment here. It's very short, but it's for really to get students used to Connect, which you probably are familiar with that. It's used quite a bit on campus for many courses, but if you're not, again, we just need to be aware of some of the availabilities of items in Connect through that McGraw-Hill software. It's very good. Okay, the announcements page is where I will send announcements to the class. So I hope to send one for online classes about once a week, maybe more. I'll probably also send you emails and things like that. I try to make sure I hit everybody, and that's usually announcements and emails. And if you're in a traditional class, then I'll see you in class quite a bit. But I also can do that as well here. My name is Mark Mitchell, and I've been with the college for a very long time. Happy to be here, and of course, the best part of my position here at the college is to deal with students and try to help them as much as I can. That's the really fun part of my job. So I've listed my schedule when I'm on campus, whether I'm in class or in my office or office hours, and so you can definitely click here on this document and you can see where I'll be during the day. And hopefully, if you would like to come by and see me, of course, you're more than welcome. I love to talk with students, but we can hopefully find a time that works for you. And if my schedule doesn't really look good for you, then we can contact each other and try to figure out something that is going to work. So here's a little bit about me, and there's actually a picture of me if you haven't met me. And I've been, again, with the college since about 1995, and I've done a lot of teaching, a lot of different scenarios in psychology, sociology, and theology. So those are really the areas that I'm interested in right now, and maybe at some point in the future, philosophy. But got just a little bit about me there in my life. So again, be glad to talk to you. I will need to correct these office hours. Now it's Monday and Wednesday for the spring. This is a typo right here, but I'll correct that. But Monday and Wednesday from 8 to 10:30 is the office hours for the spring 2020 semester, and that's in the syllabus. So I'll correct this here. All right, so now the Course Resources tab has a copy of our syllabus, and that's really a contract between you and the college and for all your classes, but you really need to read that completely and make sure you understand. It'll really help you, I think, to know the types of assignments that are going to be required of you and some of the due dates. And then if you have further questions about anything there on the syllabus, please make sure you ask. Don't wait or delay. If you have a question, we want to get those taken care of as soon as possible. The acknowledgement form, I need that back from everybody. Again, you can download the form and fill it out and email it to me, or you can simply send me an email that says, your name and for the, you have read and agreed to abide by the syllabus for the spring 2020 semester in whatever section of sociology you're in. So the course that I'm in right now is the section of Sociology 210 I on line 01. So that'll change. So just add your section number to your email if you're going to send it to me that way. All right, and some of the general policies of how the class will run, those I'm sure you're very familiar with. But if you, for example, need accommodations for class, make sure you register with Disability Services on campus each semester. And if you need, any type of accommodation, they will make sure for all your classes that takes place. That's very important that you take care of that if you believe that you qualify for it. All right, so again, some of these are more for a seated class in terms of some of the things they mentioned, but we generally will be an ongoing class unless the college is closed itself. And then, of course, I would make some announcements to make that clear. The Assignments tab is where you'll spend most of your time, I think, when you click or log into Blackboard for our course. So we do have one paper due, and the paper is due on March the 1st, 2020 by 11:59. Now, you can work on it now, but here is the rubric. So you must follow 1 through 5. Number 6 is optional. So your paper must be on a video that I'll give you the choice of watching 2 videos. And the length of the paper is number 1. Number 2, tell me how the video relates to sociology, so you can use a theory. There are really 3 big theories in our book. There are multiple theorists. There are multiple concepts. It's just a variety of things, but I want you to see how the video relates to sociology. The bulk of your paper will be 3 examples from the video that you found interesting or you agreed or disagreed with, and then tell me why. So that's the bulk of your paper right there. Okay? And then number 4, what would you add or delete from the video? And then, of course, explain why you would take this action. And then number 5, state what you have learned from the video and how you can benefit. And so those are 1 through 5 the things that must be in your paper. Now, if you use an outside source, that's when number 6 comes into play. If you don't use an outside source, now by that I mean other than the book or the video. If you're a visual person, now here's some examples of papers I've used in the past, of videos and papers that were turned in. They did a really good job, and these are the papers attached. Now, I do send all papers through a plagiarism engine. And so, for example, if you have more than a 10% match of sources, then I will investigate, and if it's found that you're citing a source that you did not give credit to, then that is plagiarism. So you don't want to have that, and that's usually not an issue at all. Students have been doing, I think, a very good job for the papers for some time now, and I hope you enjoy the assignment too. This is just the rubric. I'll show you under the assignments tab where you'll actually find the links to the videos. And if you want to go ahead and do that early in the semester, you can. I want some of the assignments that really are very heavily weighted in our class are the quiz and exam. So this is a link that actually shows you a quiz or exam. They're multiple choice. That's what we'll be using throughout the semester. And we're usually tested on 4 chapters at a time. That's the way that I've set it up. So since we're an online class, of course, these will take place online. So our quizzes, they precede the exam, and what I have done is set them up to where they're open for several days, and then you need a password, and that will be located under the announcements page. But then you have this time frame, and it must be complete. So after the quiz expires, then you can review it, and by that I mean looking at your questions and what you got right or wrong. And then you would take your exam. So the exam will be similar to the quiz, except it's after the quiz, and then the exams are weighted a little bit more heavily. Now, these should be in numerical order. So chapter 1 should be actually first, but that's what we're really going to have going forward. Okay, so review your quiz, because a lot of the things that you see on the quiz you'll also see on the exam again. So you can see the pattern here that we have. Now, if you miss a quiz or exam, you will not be able to make it up. And I cannot stress how important it is to make sure that you complete these quizzes and exams during the time frame that are listed here in Blackboard and the syllabus as well. Okay, so now if it's not your fault, if it's an error on my part, then of course you would be able to make that up. But if you forget or anything like that, then you just don't get to make it up. And the quizzes count about 4% each time you take a quiz towards your grade, and the exams count about 12% or a little over 12%. So nobody in class can really afford to have a really bad grade on a quiz or exam. Okay, so I keep all your grades in the grade book, the grade center, so keep a close eye on that. If you ever think something looks wrong, then please email me and I'll be glad to check into that. Now, I do want to show you, for example, what a normal chapter for us looks like. So you can see here in Chapter 1, the assignments are due by 1/19/20 here in Chapter 1. So let's click on that. And then what we'll see is, hey, these are the tasks that you should be doing. Some are required, some are not. But reading, doing your Learn Smart, the Learn Smart is required. The Chapter 1 review is required. The core concept videos are required, and these count toward the final grade. The discussion board articles for the online classes, mainly articles, but some videos. And then some of the optional things are, I definitely would read the chapter, and then you've got to figure out a study method that works for you. So whether that's the PowerPoint slides, the chapter notes, there's a video for each chapter on YouTube that I have made that often combines some of these PowerPoint slides and things in the text that I find interesting, but you've got to find a way to reinforce the material. Here's the learning objectives. Now, you don't have to write anything for these, but it's simply a mental checklist of what you should know after reading the chapter. So, for example, after you've read the chapter, if you can't define sociology or recognize it in a multiple choice format, then that's basically a clue that hey, you got to go back and find a study method to where you can recognize the right answer or be able to define that term. We have a lot of terms on our quizzes and exams, a lot of names and concepts. So those are very important when you're reading to just make sure you kind of understand and can follow along. So I've also included an outline of each chapter, kind of broken it down. Most of the chapters are 20 to 30 pages, so that takes sometimes a while to read, but here's a shorter version to let you know what you should, again, be thinking about. Here's the PowerPoint slides, the chapter notes, so you can, if you like notes, you can look at these before printing them off if you want to. Here's the video that I have created that, again, goes through some of the material in each chapter and things that I just thought were interesting, and you can use that. And the video and media section is something that I'm building that's extra resources that, hey, if you want to learn more. Okay, now at the bottom of the screen, we see two of our assignments. This first link, now this goes to the, once you click on it, it goes to the Smart Book or the Learn Smart, and then the concept clip, which is very, very short, and then the Chapter 1 quiz, which is about 20, I think, multiple choice items. Now you have unlimited attempts on these first two assignments, and you can get whatever grade you want. The Smart Book or Learn Smart will take the longest to complete, and then the Chapter 1 quiz only gives you one attempt. Okay, so every chapter will have a link to those assignments. Okay. The other assignment that was promised is the discussion board. Okay, so when you come to the discussion board, now it has to be turned in every Sunday night at 11:59. Okay, and if you miss it, then you just can't make it up. Again, barring any mistake on my part. So here's the article that we're going to use in Chapter 1, and then what I look for in the discussion board. You can click here, and for example, I want to pull that up and show you so that you really have a good idea of what to put in your discussion board. So we'll give this just a second to load the file. But it's really, again, just the length, meaning 300 words at minimum. So I'll grade you from 0 to 2 on each of these 5 areas. So you can get a maximum of 10 points. So your grammar and spelling are also important. The clarity in which you express your ideas. The presentation of relevant evidence is basically, did you read the article? Can I tell from the facts that you've listed from the article that you have read it from beginning to end? So these articles are multiple pages long, but I expect to see, again, that you've read it and kind of just not the first page, but all the way through. And then finally, what's really important about your discussion board is what you think, and that's the original thought. So what kind of things did you think about, questions or statements about the article? That's also something that I'm looking for. Okay, so that's part of the rubric, and that's under the discussion board form if you would like to look at that. So you'll have that rubric attached to each discussion board, so it'll tell you what you're doing well and maybe some things that you need some extra help with. Now, some of these articles are a little hard to read. The vocabulary is kind of extensive. So what I've done is made a video for each discussion board, and if you're having trouble getting started, then you might want to consider looking at this video. Okay, so some of them I think you'll really like and won't probably need any help, but maybe some that are a little more technical in their wording, that would be a good place to start if you need to. All right, so I mentioned earlier about keeping track of your grade. So my grade book looks a little different from yours, but current grade is the column that you want to really look at in terms of your grade. We're on that 10-point scale, so I look at the grade book a lot, and I try to make sure it's accurate. But again, keep your eyes on it, and if you have any questions, make sure you call me. So we'll have a lot of assignments over the semester. You can see here, There's just a lot of things there, and they're all weighted and all count toward the grade. There's not anything that I'll ask you to do during the semester that doesn't count towards your overall grade. Okay, so I don't believe in assigning anything that doesn't have some kind of connection back to your overall letter grade. The discussion board, again, we have one per week, and so here is some examples, articles that I've had, and here's an example of a discussion board post incorporating the rubric that we just looked at, and you can see them throughout the semester. Okay, so again, the way that I would access the discussion board, I'm sure there's multiple ways to do it, but again, if you were doing one right now, say for chapter 1, you would come down here, and this is the link that you would click that, hey, you're going to create your thread, and once you create one and post one, then you can see other members in the class and what they have posted. The tools area, it just depends on each individual, but you may or may not use that quite a bit. Again, there's some things there that we have, some that we will use and some that we won't. For example, my grades. This McGraw-Hill Higher Education, for example, is maybe a backdoor way to get to your e-text, and let me show you how to do that now. But you would click on the McGraw-Hill Higher Education square, go to My Connect section, and then you'll have the option there to come to the e-text. So once you click there, this is our e-text that we'll be using throughout the semester instead of a hardback book. Now, I do have one copy on reserve in the library, so, first come, first serve, but if you would like to use a hard book, a hard copy, then that's what that's for in the library. So I may be able to get a second copy in there, but I'll just have to see. But you can do all kinds of things once you're in the ebook, so you can search for a term or a page or a name, all kinds of things like that. Here's your table of contents. It's just really, easy to use, user-friendly, and you can print from this as well. But if you like to do it that way, that's certainly an option. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Blackboard now, and there we are. And so now the My eText works a little bit better after you have used the tools area, but here's some help that if you're having some problems, you definitely want to do that. So here's a video of what I kind of just already demonstrated in the video. You don't need any really logins or extra logins or password. Once you use your login for Blackboard and password, you should have access to the eText. Okay, so again, I put that opt-out form again here in case as a different location. All right, now some of these other files I don't think you will need, like the Connect registration guide, just to show you how it's progressed over the years. Now, if you are having trouble with Connect, the first thing to do is to try this website and then use the chat function. But I have very kind of limited control, and so if it's not working for you, definitely contact me. But then what I'll do is I'll try to help push it along as far as I can. But they really have a chat mode that once you use that, you can talk to a McGraw-Hill representative, and they will help you get to the bottom of your problem. So remember, now you're paying for this service, and it needs to work correctly. And most of the time, that's exactly what happens. But if you do have any problems, again, contact me, and then I'll try to also do some things to help as well. Okay, so here's that website I was mentioning. So there would be a registration or access issue, and then once you're there, contact support. And I usually like to do the live chat. So you would click here and then fill out this information. Now, once you start typing, make sure you type in something every minute, or they will disconnect you. Now, if you want to do it over the phone, you can do that too. Of course, here's the support times to call. But again, they're getting better and better all the time. So I've had pretty good success with that over the years. Okay, so now probably the Barnes & Noble, you may not need to use that, but on campus for the bookstore, when you're logged into our Connect SmartBook, there it will give you the option if you want to buy a paper copy for an additional fee. You definitely can do that. That's certainly one of the options. I don't think many students do that, but that's again a personal preference. I think probably that's what I would do because I'm just used to having a printed book. Your JCC mail account, I've also listed a link there, so that's pulling up my account right there. But again, just any way I can help you, just let me know. I'll probably delete this tab since it's already in the course resources. Let's see, we've actually kind of got to another class, so let me back up and go back to the online section 1. There we go, and it's not there in the other area. Okay. And then near the end of the spring, you might be asked to participate in a course evaluation. The college is very interested in what students have to say and think about the courses, so you'll be having an opportunity later in the semester to complete that. So just give your true, honest opinion. That's very helpful and for instructors to know what to do. And the enrollment verification, that link should be there again, just to kind of use that as kind of an entry point for the class, or we may, if we don't use that, we may use something else about when you're logging in. So you do want to log in on a fairly consistent basis. And one of the ways we count attendance for class is to make sure you complete your discussion board assignment for the week. So if you don't do that, you would be counted absent. So make sure you do that, and then logging in and completing some of the other assignments would further count you present. So again, this was just a quick, brief video. If you have any questions, please contact me, either email or call or come by the campus. I'll be glad to help you. I'm so thrilled about the semester. I think our class has a lot of interesting topics to think about and discuss, and this is a class in which you can be free to express your opinion. We don't have to agree. That's one of the great points, I think, of the class. But Happy New Year, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Have a good day.